Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM21 Build a Nation story from Bangor City with me, Daniel. It's part 167 today and we finish the week in the ultimate style. We've got a massive January transfer window to reflect on as the title gives away, TNS have finally gone big. I'm very optimistic for next season now. Barry have improved as well, but then we'll be facing Ayr United in the SPFL Trust Trophy semi-final and Shakhtar Donetsk in the first game as Europe returns after Christmas. An awful lot of pressure on us because of TNS's stinking Europa League group and because Barry are the only other side in the last 32. In the Europa Conference they're facing Fenerbahce, so it might well be curtains for them as well. So the pressure's on us, can we deliver? We'll find out today and throughout next week. If you want to stay up to date and you're looking forward to this one, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily content every weekday from this series and weekend from the mini Spurs one as well. FM22 plans around the corner, but in the meantime, you can find the Twitch channel for regular live streams and the podcast channel for football content up in the eye above. Let's start though in this bonanza of an episode with our club, because ironically, and not often this is the case, it's probably the boring bit. In terms of January, not an awful lot happened at this club. One player, a youngster, has pre-agreed a deal to go to Ayr United, and one other youngster, Kai Gowans, has been sold to TNS for 11,000. Not sure why they wanted him, probably just as a cheap punt for a youngster. So he's going to go into their under-18s. Unfortunately, they did have some injury problems. Tate, he was out, so he's been missing for 6 weeks or so, which has just knocked back his development slightly. We've managed to make a few players unhappy too for the first time in a while, and it's some of the old guard, the likes of Bektas and Harvey Lloyd, and Matty Whitaker even as well. So I think we might have the final stage of the changing of the guard, and maybe next summer we'll produce what will be our final squad of the series, a final transition overall. Let's go and have a look at our results though, just to see where things have been going. We did unfortunately drop our first points of the season in the league. I've got a feeling it might be a little closer next year because TNS have got a whole lot better in January. We'll come back to that in a moment, but let's look at our games. A 3-0 win against Airbus UK, a 2-2 draw on Boxing Day at Colwyn Bay. This time Bulkley and Kavara, all the goals in the first 15 minutes, but we just couldn't push on from there. And to be honest, Colwyn Bay had 2 goals disallowed. They had a chance to win it late on. We were quite fortunate in the end to come out of that with a draw. I thought we were going to lose it for a long time. We got revenge though in the first game of January against the same opponent, 2 for Walters and 1 for Brett Jennings there. A 7-1 victory in a League Cup semi-final. Agost had a knocking goal. I didn't mention actually, that other Colwyn Bay game, Josh Pugh played in goal, which might have made a difference, but he still managed to get the result with him in there. Walters got 5 against Newtown, Geffen Davis got 2 as we breezed into the League Cup final. A 4-0 win away at Newtown in the league. Funny how the fixtures felt. Kyo Bulkley with 2 and then 1 each for Walters and Jones. A 6-0 victory against Haverfordwest, who bizarrely, despite not being in the top tier anymore, we played for the 2nd time in a row. In the Welsh League Cup final, it was Gordon with 4 and Kavara with 2. A very, very comfortable victory. A 3-2 win, nowhere near as comfortable, against Ayr United in the Welsh Cup 4th round. We had a late scare, but Kean Bulkley, Lloyd Golden and Ruben Reyes did just enough to get us through. A 5-0 win in the first game after the league split against Carmarthen. Reyes with 2, Bulkley, Jones and Kavara as well. And in into February, a 4-0 victory against Cardiff Met Uni. 3 for Gordon and 1 for Kavara. And then a snuck 1-0 victory against TNS with their massively improved squad. Geffen Davis got the goal. It was a very close match, even in terms of the stats. So let's go and have a look at the transfer window for Wales, because it's what you're all waiting for. And I mean it when I say it's gone far bigger. Let's have a look at the transfers, and we'll start with deadline day, which is here. So there's a couple of players that are duds that have been signed, but the general pattern we've seen is TNS have gone big, and then they've given what were their first choice players to Ayr United. So you can see Barry have got Guang Zhao, who was one of the defenders at TNS, a very solid one indeed, and will improve their side. And then they've also got Deshaun Swaby, who fell under the same bracket, a right back from Jamaica. He's now gone on to Ayr United. TNS, though, have gone very big. Ignore the one at the top of the screen here, which is a loan from Ayr, I think just to fill the squad, but he's played 1 league game so far. Because if we go up just to the top, which I've cut off here, you can see big things have been happening. TNS on deadline day, 3 signings equaling £1.5 million. They are massive. We saw one of them before, Josh Astley, they were linked with from Port Vale. 625 grand, epic target man, and Tate's just coming back to fitness, so if they can get them two together up there and playing well, I really fancy him to be a handful, particularly in the likes of Europe. They don't like playing against target men who are aggressive or are brave, and he's one of those who might be able to produce. So a massive signing for TNS. The second one is an exceptional goalkeeper in Alex Pegram. He's coming from AFC Wimbledon. He's on nearly £3 grand a week, and he's actually probably good enough to be a backup keeper for us. Bar the positioning attribute, everything's top class. 22 under 21 caps for Wales. I mean, you can just see the difference. That's the sort of goalkeeper and player in terms of attributes that wouldn't look out of place in our squad. And are now at TNS, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what he produces. But you could argue they saved the best till last. 375 grand for Ben Nash. Just look at him. They've got Bernardo still in midfield as well. This guy is just as good, if not slightly better. Had 122 games for Oxford, 17 passing, 16 work rate. He's just a great player across the board. That's the type of player I probably didn't ever expect to see in the Welsh Premier League in this save, and I'm really delighted that it's happening with one of our rivals. We've waited a long time to get a side that can genuinely compete, and I think, particularly with these coming in January, they will settle by the end of the year. And next season, providing they don't get a stinking group in Europe, surely TNS can go on a run, because they've got as good a side as we had when we were reaching the last 16 every year. So I'm hopeful that this is going to be a big turning point. Barrytown United, not quite as big. They've not really spent any money other than those few players from TNS. Only one at the start of the window. But they are gradually getting better too. Colwyn Bay may be a slight disappointment, but in the summer, I'm expecting more of the same. Colwyn Bay's transfers basically were just a few little free agents, and they're all right. They're solid squad players, but none of them are really going to be setting the world alight long term. Let's go back to the start of the window, because there were a few bigger deals there as well. So Derry sold Barrytown United. This player, a little bit of a squad option in midfield, but again, a very solid player and improves their squad no end. TNS signed that youngster from us. We mentioned that one already. They also spent 600 grand on Simon Seswick from Chester in the English League. Now, I'm not sure that he's their perfect solution. I think the reason they've paid so big for him is because he's only 19. And now they've got decent facilities. They've got a youth international here. They've got an opportunity to develop him and make him a very good player. And maybe it's their first thought business-wise, as we could make a profit on some of these. Who knows? We've also got Barrytown United's big one, who ironically then scored the winner against TNS in the league. That's Fraser Underwood. 325,000. He is very solid. Not the best finisher in the world, but a good all-round player, and better than we've usually seen at Barry. You can see 3 goals in 3 league games for him already. So a very exciting window, because cash is being splashed. We're seeing teams massively improve in the shape of TNS, and other ones edge their improvement up yet further. And more importantly, just loads of activity. So I hope that this is going to be a real changing point for the save, because these sides are going to keep getting money if they keep getting to the group stages. And if they keep improving their sides like this, they're going to do that every season. We've of course got a little bit of a quandary as to who's going to get 5th place this year. I'd really like it to not be Cardiff Met Uni and to maybe be one of the professional sides. Ironically, TNS did go in for Cardiff Met Uni's best player as well in Jack Delaney. He was that striker they signed a couple of years ago. He rejected a deal with TNS. I guess if they revisit in the summer when they're back in Europe, they might have a chance, but he'd definitely improve them as well, particularly if Tate doesn't stay next year, which we'll try our best to make happen. So excitement galore. I'm very, very pleased with the progress that's being made. Let me know if I'm getting overexcited, or are those TNS players as good as I think? Of course, they're not at our standard yet, but it's allowing them to be more consistent in the league, and I'm hoping a bit later down the line that that's a squad that can really help them compete in Europe, and maybe just start to progress a little bit further. So we'll wait and see what happens on that front. We've got 2 busy games to get into though. We'll get through the first one against Ayr United. We will have a brief look at our youth intake preview between the 2 games as well. But of course, we're probably only an episode or 2 away now from actually meeting the youth intake itself, because we've got through a lot of games and a couple of months since the last one. So this is the team I've gone for against Ayr United. Basically, last weekend I played my first team. In midweek against TNS, it was largely backup. And now we're back to largely first team again. This one on Thursday night will be that. And then the one between the 2 Shakhtar legs will be back to backup. So we've got Simancas between the sticks, Fletcher and Nenov the fullbacks, Jennings and Whelan continuing at centre-half together. Odell in the holding role, Reyes and Gomez Garcia, another man who's thrown his toys out the pram in the middle. And then Bulkley behind Gordon and Kvara up front. Kvara starting to get fit more consistently, starting to find form. And Gordon has been an absolute superstar. We've got goals galore in the shape of Waters, Loza and Jones on the bench if we need them. Gethin Davis and Ludamir Srom, probably the best backup midfielders we've ever had. And then we've got a wonder kid in Briones and a former superstar in Kai McDonald, just in case we need that defensive help. So probably the best squad we've ever had. You can see those ones missing out of the squad. Mackenzie unhappy, Harvey Lloyd, Bektas, Whittaker, all in the same boat. I think that could be the 4 that moves on this summer. And looking at the rest of the team, I think that's probably the final step to us to make this squad exactly what we want it to be. We've got a couple of years left, obviously, before FM22. This is largely the team that's going to have to do the business. Now let's get into the game against Ayr United. See if we can reach our second SPFL final in a row. Well, I don't really recognise much of that Ayr team. We had a brief look at Ross Stewart a little while ago, but nothing else that stands out. We should be the better side. We've had some really good games against the Scottish Championship clubs in recent years, and some really tight ones as well. Obviously, we've gone out a fair few times too. And we're not prioritising this competition as much now, particularly because we won it again last year. And although we've got a slightly easier last 32 tie, I say in advance, against Shakhtar in the Europa League, it is the competition where we've got so much responsibility this year. Lloyd Goulding gets in at the front post, that's the perfect start. Bulkley sets him up, Goulding delivers. Remember that they said he was our worst striker in the summer and that we should have sold him over Carlton Broadbent. All of our coaches rating him below. 38th goal of the season, only just into February. Nearly got 39 there as he heads into the side netting. But as I was saying earlier, Europa League is the priority. And we have to try and go all the way because we're going to start losing out coefficient-wise after a poor year elsewhere. Maybe Barry can shock Fenerbahce, who knows. Holocha's got it on the left-hand side for Ayr. We've had a brilliant start, but this doesn't look great. Cross is blocked by Nenov really well, and Reyes can bring it away. Down the right he goes, across halfway, into Kyo Bulkley, often finds that through ball. This time goes short to Gomez Garcia, and wide to Kvara. 2 in the middle, Bulkley's one of them. Doesn't quite find him, and it's cleared as far as Odell. Out to Kellum Fletcher. Gomez Garcia. It's lovely, quick, intricate football. Bulkley finds his man again. It's Reyes. Nenov's overlapping. Can he find him? He does. Nenov delivers. 3 in the box. Goulding's touch is poor. Back to Reyes. That is sublime. Right in the top corner. Keeper had no chance. 2-0. Job done. And our SPFL troubles are not going to come in this year. As immediately we've got a free kick on the left with Bulkley. Oh, it's turning into a slaughter. Danny Gomez Garcia. Lovely glancing header. He has been a little bit unhappy this year, but he's a great box-to-box midfielder. If we can just briefly get that unhappiness off him, I'll get him a new contract, get him out of the, you're going to be a playmaker, you've got a minimum fee release, just get him settled down, because he could be a star for us. As Ortega gets it on the right for Ayr, they need a goal very quick if they want to have any chance here. Ortega's picked it up again, lovely through ball, Simancas's got caught in no man's land, but Sparks just couldn't quite get there in time. And in the end can only direct it into the side netting. A comfortable half an hour despite that one scare. Bangor City lead 3-0 and we can start to focus on Thursday night. When Mubarak Whelan picks the ball up just inside his own half from a free kick. We're coming into 3 minutes of first half stoppage time now. Kellum Fletcher gets it a left back to Reyes. A fourth would really be lovely because then at the hour mark we can just take off the stars. If it goes the other way though, as it may do here, we could be in a spot of bother as Whelan mops up really well. Good defending from the youngster. Wright goes back to his keeper and Ayr United can play away. Out to Andrews at right back. They're chipping it forward but we look really comfortable in there. And I mentioned that about Odell, just dropping in as the anchor man and winning the headers. Natural centre half as Reyes in, Bulkley's there. And it deflects in off the defender. It's unfortunate for the keeper. He was going the right way, he probably would have stopped it. But it's 4-0 and at half time we can already start to think about which 3 we want to give a breather to. As early doors, the pattern stays the same in the second half. Nenov with a throw on the right to Ruben Reyes. Odell finds Garcia and Nenov again. Cuts it back to Reyes, 25 yards from goal but facing backwards. Plays a 1-2 with Gomez Garcia and he gives the ball away. Reyes gets it back again though. We've got a wide option on the left and it goes out there to Fletcher. Brilliant ball in for Goulding. The run sublime, the header's pinpoint. The keeper has absolutely no chance. 5-0. And this is probably the most convincing performance we've produced in this competition in a very long time. Certainly against one of the big Scottish sides. That's something we've not done for a while. As Kyo Bulkley's got a free kick. Oh, lovely effort. just over the bar. And now we're going to have to rest a few, aren't we? Which ones are the superstars? Who do we take off? I think it's got to be Reyes, Bulkley and Kvara, because they're our best three players. Kvara's not had a great game anyway, so Kane Walters on there. We're going to take Bulkley off for Tom Jones. Maybe Geffen Davis. Let's do that. And then we'll also take off Ruben Reyes for Ludomir Strom. Look forward to the last half an hour. Hopefully, just calms the game down a bit. As it's a throw on the right-hand side for Ayr United. Just over 20 minutes left. Odell wins it back and clears for Gordon. Got support with him in Kane Walters. He can go through one-on-one here. The pace on the counter is just electrifying. But it's a great save by the Ayr keeper. And it remains 5. Not that I'm going to complain about that. The ball's into the box. Strom given a handball there. Why on earth would he do that? Yellow card out from the referee's notebook. Let's see what happens from this Ayr corner though. Valiant puts the ball into the front stick. Wright wins the header. Hits the post and then off the line from Kellen Fletcher. A little bit of arrogance still creeping in. And Ayr United, despite our dominance, are still getting a few little chances. As Nenov heads the ball away downfield to Lloyd Gordon. Turns. Plays long towards Walters. I think the right back's played him on there. Walters in at the edge of the box. But it was on his right foot. The defender did well to force him there actually. And he was never going to make much of that. Well, into 2 minutes of stoppage time, it's really calmed down. What a performance. The job was done by half time. And we now go into Thursday night against Shakhtar full of confidence. The Europa League returns, as does the Europa Conference for Barrytown United. Now, can they cause a shock and can we do what's expected? Because Welsh football needs one of us to deliver. And here we are. Time to face Shakhtar Donetsk for a place in the last 16 of the Europa League. It's not actually the worst draw, looking at the sides that are in our half. Of course, the Europa League group winners will come in at the 16s, but looking at this part of the draw, the two strongest sides in Borussia Dortmund and West Ham have arguably drawn each other, which is a massive help to us. And the rest of the draw is pretty open. So I'm starting to get a little bit more hopeful, albeit having not seen which 8 teams won their groups. So let's go and get into the game. I'm hoping this will be a pretty comfortable one. We've got a better side than Shakhtar, who aren't what they started the series as. And of course, we're nowhere near that. We've got a brilliant side now. Ruben Reyes has picked up a slight knock in the week, which is a slight downer for us. I'm going to bring in Geffen Davis and put Bulkley on the right of the diamond. I was tempted to bring in Ludomir Strom, but I'm not sure that for the home game, I want the more defensive, harder working option. On the bench, that means Harvey Lloyd will take his place. The rest of the squad, I think, will stay the same. There's no real need to change it. We look in great shape. So let's see if we can deliver. Just the one change, that one enforced. We face Shakhtar for a place in the last 16. Hopefully we get it wrapped up in the home leg. And here we go. I recognise the name Unavar. We managed someone called Unavar in the head coach, but they were a new gen, so unless it's just the same name by pure coincidence. Their skipper Shakari's a fabulous player. They've got a couple of good defenders too, but they're not as strong as us. It is a game which, weirdly, we're saying this in the European knockout stages, we should be winning. So let's see if we can do just that today. We're going to stick positive from the start because I think we should be on the front foot a bit more here. And we'll see if Barry are playing at the same time, although they may be a later kick-off. Well, half an hour gone, we've dominated the stats and the shot count without really delivering anything. Our first highlight is a Bulkley free kick, which is pretty comfortably saved. Barrytown United are in action. They're still 0-0 at the minute, as we've got on a throw on the right with Nenov. It's the sort of game again, a bit like the one we had in the groups, where we scored 1 and then 2 and 3 came straight after. If we can get that early goal, I feel like it can make a difference. Was it Zenit in the playoff? As Kvara puts one in, Fletcher delivers it. I think it was Zenit in the playoff, wasn't it, where we scored 3 in 4 minutes. Let's see if we can do the same here, because we've got the lead with 33 gone. That's a big goal, potentially. Fenerbahce 0-0 against Barry. I'm hoping that game is live, and it's not just an 8 o'clock kickoff. Because if it is, that's a fantastic result. We reached the break at 1-0. We look in pretty good shape at the moment. But it's not enough, is it? As it's a corner kick in from the visitors, it's headed away well and Davis can flick on for Kvara. We've got a storm flying through the window, you might be able to hear that in a minute, as Kvara gets into the box. He's a star player, he's not been great all times this season, but when it's mattered in the big stages, he's often turned up. And ironically, it's probably the first player we've had where his record in Europe is better than domestically. Just loves a big game, as Nenov chips it in, is missed by Gordon, but Geffen Davis there, ghosted in the number 10 unmarked. And it now looks the right decision to put him in, doesn't it? 5 gone in the second half, 2-0 is the lead. Jennings has got a yellow and he's not playing well. He'll also be suspended next Thursday. So what I'm going to do in a minute is take him off, Briones can play this and then next Thursday, and Jennings can play at the weekend. As Fletcher nicks it back at left back again. Big ball over the top, a third wouldn't hurt. Gordon in. Oh, it's straight at the keeper. Not like him at all this season. It's out for a corner kick. We'll see that, and once the highlight finishes, we'll make our centre-half change. As Bulkley delivers it, outswinger, not good enough, doesn't beat the first man. Don't often say that about him, as Whelan gets it on the right. Inside to Kyo Bulkley, can he make up for it? Just play short, into Odell. No one really forcing the issue, we're just comfortable and content. Though that ball's brilliant, Gordon's in and hits the post. Kvara can't quite get to the rebound. Jennings off, Briones on. Good start to the second period for us. 25 minutes to go. I was about to make changes, but we're on the front foot again as Bulkley finds Nenov. We'll pick our moment as Nenov chips it into Gordon. Must score this time. Let's put another one wide. I think that's enough for me now. I'm going to take Lloyd Gordon off because he has missed a hatful of great chances. We're going to put Kvara on the right, Walters on the left. He'll become a poacher. Kvara will become an advanced forward. And then in midfield, I mean, Bulkley's the most tired, but we'll rest him completely at the weekend. Odell's on a yellow, but I'm not too worried about him. So let's do Strom for Gomez Garcia. They're the three changes made. We've got a quarter of the game to go. A third would just about wrap it up, as Barrytown United have got a goal. Albeit Fenerbahce have since equalised. It's 1-1 and they've got the away goal. That's a phenomenal result so far. As Ludimir Strom on the left-hand side loses out in possession. Not quite warmed up to the game yet. Only been on a few minutes. And that's poor. Nenov's got to get there. Leifson's in. Oh, we're in trouble now. 2-1. Crucial away goal for Shakhtar. And we just opened up. It's not good enough. And now we might have to show the second leg because they're very much back in this tie. We're going to demand more. We're going to hope for a third. But this is not the position we wanted the match in. Bangor City 2, Shakhtar Donetsk 1. Barry are 3-2 down now as well. This could be a very bad night for Welsh football. Fenerbahce get a late fourth. That probably puts Barry out. And we've got a ton of work to do. We dominated the game. Gordon missed enough chances to score a hat-trick. And now we might pay for it. The second leg is going to have to be shown because that didn't quite go to plan. Well, still a win on the night. Still a good position in the tie, but not as good as we were hoping for. It's in the balance, which means A, I've got to show the second leg, and B, there's going to be a little bit more pressure on us. The European club coefficient is looking okay, but we're still behind so many of the other nations, and as it stands, we're going to drop back down to 12th this year. Though we have got a little bit of a gap afterwards, though Russia are starting to catch us too. The one thing I did promise to show you that I haven't glanced at yet is the youth intake preview. I guess you'll know by the fact I haven't shown you it. It's probably not the most exciting one in the world. However, it could be interesting because there's a problem area where we might have found a superstar. So nothing to say that we've got a brilliant intake or a really poor one. But all of the positives, apart from the one little comment about 3 forwards, is in relation to a number of fullbacks being there. And the one that keeps getting picked out, there's a wing-back who's rated very highly, and we have a good young Welsh left-back from Bangor who's caught the eye. So if we've got nothing bar a brilliant left-back in that youth intake, I can sell Bektas, we can let McDonald go back from his loan club, and we can replace them for free. That would be the aim. We'll wait and see if it works out that way or not. But as a result of today's game, we're going to have to be back for the second leg. And in fact, we'll just show the next 2 games. So Barrytown United away, Shakhtar Donetsk away. If you enjoyed this episode though, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Let me know what you thought of the Welsh transfer window. Am I right to be as excited as I am at the moment? I think TNS might go big next year. Subscribe down below to stay up to date with this one and find out on Monday if we can complete the job in Europe. In the meantime, we'll have our Spurs series continue at the weekend, so turn that notification bell on to get alerts every time new episodes release. FM22 plans just around the corner, but in the meantime, in the eye above, you can find the Twitch channel for loads of live streams and of course the football podcast too. A massive thank you for watching, your support as always, it is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you on Monday for a big moment in Europe for Welsh football and for us as Shakhtar. I'll see you there.